So in question 1, it tells you that a pile of sand has a weight of 90 kilograms and it's been put into small, medium and large bags in the ratio 2 to 3 to 7. I'd originally show you how to share that amount in this ratio by drawing these boxes. This is the way you're probably used to being shown how to do it at the start, and then some of you now have probably gone away from this method. But for the first few questions, I'm going to show you visually using these boxes. So we are sharing 90 kilograms between this ratio 2 to 3 to 7. So we need to share 90 between these 12 boxes. You'll notice that each box is exactly the same size. So now if you work out what 90 divided by 12 is, you'll get what answer goes in each box. So each box must be worth 7.5 kilograms. Okay, so each of these would also be 7.5 kilograms. It wants you to work out the weight of sand in each bag. So in our small bag, we have got 2 lots of 7.5, which is 15 kilograms. In our medium bag, we have 3 lots of 7.5, which gives you 22.5 kilograms. And in our large bag, we have 7 lots of 7.5, which gives you 52.5 kilograms. A good way to check that you've got this answer correct is to add your 3 amounts together. So 15 plus 22.5 plus 52.5 equals to 90 kilograms, which is what you're expecting because that was the amount you were sharing out at the start. It's told you Zoe and Hannah share tips in the ratio 3 to 7. Last week, Zoe received 24. So again, I've started this question by drawing 3 boxes to 7 boxes. We know that it's in the ratio Zoe to Hannah because it's the same order as the names in which are mentioned. So as Zoe's mentioned first, she has the ratio 3, and we are told that she receives 24 pounds. So we know that that 24 pounds has been shared equally between these 3 boxes. So therefore each box must be worth 8 pounds. Again, we can fill this in for Hannah's side as well because each of these boxes are identical in size and value. So now we can work out how much Hannah has made, as she has got 7 boxes, each with 8 in, so she has got a total of 56 pounds. So question 3, it's asked you to divide 260 between this ratio 1 to 3. Again, you'll notice the first step I have done is drawn out these boxes. We have a total of 4 boxes, so this time the calculation we are working out is 260 divided by 4. This is 65, so we can write down 65 in each box. So now the first person gets 1 box, which is 65 pounds. The second person gets 3 boxes, which is 195 pounds. A nice way to check, add those 2 together. Do you get the total 260? Yes. Part B is asked for this ratio in the form 1 to n. This is our unitary ratio form. So we've gone from 3 to 5 to 1 to this something. And that's the something we need to work out. So in order to complete this question, we compare our left-hand side. How do you go from 3 to 1? Or to go from any number to 1, you just divide by that number itself. So you divide by 3. Whatever you do to the left-hand side, you do to the right-hand side. So here, To work out what that question mark is, or n in this question, we do 5 divided by 3, which is a fraction, is just 5 over 3, which is our part A. Question 4. This one's told you about 3 angles inside a right-angled triangle in the ratio 7 to 18 to 11. It's given you a little bit of a hint here as to what we're going to expect one of the angles to equal. So again, it's a nice way to check we are correct. So it's told us it's in the ratio 7 to 18 to 11. You'll probably notice I've only drawn out 7 boxes, and I'd recommend you do this as well, because if you were asked to draw out another 18 and 11, it will take you a long time for something which isn't necessary. It's the smallest angle, which is 35. We are only looking at the smallest ratio. So I know that 35 must be equal to these 7 boxes. So therefore, if we work out 35 divided by 7, that will tell us what goes in each box. So now I know that angle A is 35. Angle B, well, it would have 18 boxes, each with 5 in. So 18 times by 5 is 90. And then finally, my angle C is 11. Again, we'd have 11 boxes, each with 5 in. So 11 times by 5 is equal to 55. Now we've got 2 checks to do here. Do we have one of the angles being a right angle? Yes, angle B. And do all 3 angles add up to 180 degrees? Yes, they do. Therefore, you're pretty much guaranteed that you've got that question correct in your exam. Question 5. At a school, the number of boys to the number of girls is 11 to 9. So again, I've drawn out 11 boxes and 9 boxes. I have drawn it in a slightly different way. I've actually drawn it on top of each other, and that's to show you how to answer this question. So it tells you that there are 124 more boys than girls. So we need to have a look at how many more boxes there are for our boys compared to our girls. We can see that there are 2 more boxes here. That must be equal to this 124. So now I know that in 2 boxes we have 124. So if I work out what 124 divided by 2 is, it's going to tell me what goes in each and every box. Again, you can write these in if you like, but we now know that 62 goes in each and every box. It wants you to work out the total number of students at the school. Well, we have 62 times by, there's 11 boxes for the boys, 9 boxes for the girls. These are all identical and worth 62. So we need to work out what 62 times by 20 is, which is 1,240 students. So question 6. It's told you that you've got the ratio of blue sweets to the number of green sweets is 2 to 7. It has then told you the number of green sweets to the number of red sweets is 3 to 1. So we've got this ratio of blue to green, and then we also have this ratio of green to red. However, at the moment, they are separate, and that's why I'm going to write them over each other. We need to find the lowest common multiple of our green ratio so that we can combine these ratios together and write it as one triple ratio. So looking at the lowest common multiple of 7 and 3 is 21. If you weren't sure how to work that out, you can either write out your 7 times tables and 3 times tables, and 21 will be the lowest. And sometimes there's a little bit of a cheat. that if you multiply them together, that will give you the common multiple. However, word of warning, doesn't always give you the lowest, but in this case it did. So we now know we want the ratio 21 in the middle. So in order to change our first ratio, we've gone from 7 to 21. So we have multiplied our ratio, or 7, by 3 to get it to be 21. So we need to do that to our blue side as well. So 2 times 3 is 6. We now need to have a look at how we've multiplied our green-red ratio. Our green was 3 and it's now gone to 21. So we have multiplied that by 7. So again we need to do exactly the same thing to the red side. 1 times 7 is 7. We now have this combined ratio which has got all 3 parts together. It tells you that there are less than 140 sweets in the box. We know that those sweets have got to be whole numbers. You can't have any halves or quarters or decimals. So if we now work out how many parts we'll have in this ratio, or boxes, if we add together 6 plus 21 plus 7, we have 34 separate parts. So what we need to do now is write down our multiples of 34 until we get very close to this 140. So 34, 68, 102, 136. So it wants you to work out the greatest possible number. So that is why we're going to select the 136. We know it's less than 140, so we can't go any higher, and we want the greatest possible. So we want to pick the biggest one. So now we know we've got 136 sweets, and we need to share that equally between these 34 parts. So we need to do 136 divided by 34, which is 4. So now we know that there are 4 sweets in each box. So for our blue sweets, we would have 6 times 4. For our green sweets, we'd have 21 times 4. And for our red sweets, we'd have 7 times 4. So if we work these out now, 6 times by 4 is 24. 21 times 4 is, and 7 times by 4 is 28. It wants to know the number of red sweets. Red was our final ratio, so we have 28 red sweets in total. In question 7, it tells you that there is a total of 270 men, women and children on a train. It's told you the ratio of men to women is 4 to 5, and then it's told you the ratio of women to children is 10 to 9. So again we have 2 separate ratios which we need to combine together. You've got to do exactly the same steps as before and make sure that your ratios in the middle match. So we are finding out my lowest common multiple of 5 and 10. So here our lowest common multiple is 10. Note that we didn't multiply our numbers together this time. 50 would be a common multiple. 5 times 10 is 50. However, it's not our lowest. So like I said earlier, that rule doesn't always work. So what we're going to do now is change our ratio so that our middle section is 10. So to go from our 4 to 5 into something to 10, we have multiplied 5 by 2 to get it to be 10. So therefore we need to multiply our left hand side by 2 as well. That gives us our ratio of 8. On our second one, we've gone from 10 to 10. So we've multiplied by 1. So again, we just keep our answer for children as 9. 9 times 1 is 9. So now we've got our combined ratio. And we've got our total of 270 men, women and children. So we need to share this 270 by these 27 boxes or parts. So in total, if we add these up, 8 plus 10 plus 9 is 27, and that's how we got our 27 boxes. Again, you could draw them if you like, however this would be a slightly longer process. That tells me that 10 goes in each box. It wants to know how many men are on the train. So we've got 8 boxes or parts each. So we've got 8 boxes each with 10 in. So to get our final answer, we would need to do 8 times by 10, and that tells you how many men are on the train. Similarly, if you wanted to work out how many women are on the train, it'd be 10 times 10, which is 100. And finally, children, 9 times 10, which is 90. Again, we can check if we add those three answers together. Yes, we do get the starting sum of 270. So our final question. It tells us about the attendance at a rugby game. Number of men to number of women to number of children. It then says that there are 3,512 more men than women. So we're only interested to begin with in this ratio of 17 to 9, which is our men to our women. And it tells you, and the key word here is that there are 3,512 more men than women. So if we drew these out as boxes, we would notice that there are 8 extra boxes. So 17 take away 9 is 8 boxes. So because we're looking and told how many more men we have, we've got to do our 3,512 divided by 8. And that will tell us how much goes in each box. So now we know each box is worth 439. It wants you to work out how many children are attending the game. Well, there are 12 boxes for children, and we know that's 439 in each one. So therefore, 12 times 439 is 5,628 children. Just to double check in your exam that you have got this correct, so to check, you could work out how many men you had, which is 17 times 439, which is 7,463. You would then check how many women you had at the game, so that's 9 times 439, which is 3,951 women. And then we want to make sure if we subtract these that we do have 3,512 more. So if you subtract those two answers now, you would get the answer 3,512. So therefore, you know your answer is correct.